Today on Variant, we're updating our History of Wonder Woman episode. Welcome to Variant, where we love comics more than I can't believe I don't own a Wonder Woman t-shirt. I'm your host, Arris. Before I talk about Wonder Woman, I wanted to remind you guys one last time that this Saturday, May 27th, I will be hanging out once again at the Lost Toys in Dallas, Texas. Like always, I'll be selling a bunch of my collectibles and just talking comics. So if you're in the area, come by on Saturday, May 27th to get some collectibles, talk comics, and just hang out with me. Either way, I hope to see you there. I'll put all the details in the description below. As for today's episode, history of episodes have been a staple of the show and a community favorite since Variant's launch in 2012. And as a result, we have covered the histories of many different characters over the years. But with the ever-evolving nature of comic books, we decided that some of those older episodes could use a bit of a facelift, especially for some of the major characters whose history of episodes are 3 to 4 years old, because let's face it, in the world of comics, that's an eternity. I will shorten some of the origin details a bit to avoid being redundant, for those of you who have already seen our previous episodes on the character. But with all that said, and Wonder Woman's first solo feature film only a week away, it seems appropriate to make the Princess of Themyscira our first History of Reboot. Ladies first, after all. Wonder Woman was created by William Marston and first appeared in All-Star Comics issue 8 in 1941, making her one of the longest continually published characters in comic books, alongside Superman, who debuted in 1938, and Batman, who debuted in 1939. Together, these three make up DC's Big Three, also known as the Trinity. Wonder Woman's appearance in the early golden age of comics made her the first prominent female superhero, and was essentially created as an alternative to the more prominent male superheroes at the time, such as Batman, Superman, and Captain America. Creator William Marston was a psychologist who believed that women were generally more honest and reliable than men, as well as more efficient workers. With this belief, Marston geared the character more towards female readers in the hope that Wonder Woman would act as, quote, psychological propaganda for the new type of woman, who should, I believe, rule the world, end quote. Anyway, as for Wonder Woman's comic book origin, her continuity has been revamped and changed a few times over the years. But several of the main elements of her origin remain consistent up into the New 52. So for the sake of time, I'm going to give you a brief summary of the character's initial origin, then jump into the changes created by the New 52, and wrap it up with the effects that Rebirth has had on her story so far. Sound good? Great. The initial origin of Wonder Woman was detailed in All-Star Comics issue 8 and Wonder Woman issue 1 in 1942. In these issues, we learned that Diana is the princess of an all-female race called the Amazons, who live on a hidden and mysterious island called Paradise Island, later renamed Themyscira. The Amazons are a society of near-perfect superwomen who date back to the time of ancient Greece, and are actually based on the Amazons of Greek mythology. With the strict rule that no man was permitted to enter, the Amazons built a kind of utopia of strong, incredibly beautiful women, free of the evil and treacherous behaviors of men. A concept that was of course based on William Marston's previously mentioned belief that women are basically better than men. Diana was the daughter of Hippolyta, queen of the Amazons and a great warrior who was blessed by the gods. Now you may logically be wondering, how would anyone in an all-female society have children? Well, DC gave us a couple answers to that question over the years, with the most disturbing explanation coming from the New 52, where the Amazons would board ships that were passing the island and seduce unsuspecting sailors in order to become pregnant, which is pretty screwed up by itself. But then you learn that after the Amazons got what they needed from the men, they would kill them and throw their bodies overboard. That's just messed up, ladies. That's messed up. In Wonder Woman's initial and most consistent origin, however, Diana was formed from clay by her mother Hippolyta, and was then given the gift of life by the gods. Needless to say, Diana then grew to become the greatest of all the Amazons in strength, intelligence, compassion, and even beauty. Then one day, to her surprise, a United States intelligence officer named Steve Trevor crash-landed his plane on Paradise Island. And when Diana found him alive, she brought him to their city and made sure he was nursed back to good health. The only problem was that she fell in love with him in the process. Long story short, we learned that the gods allowed the pilot to crash land on Paradise Island so that he could be returned to America by a chosen Amazon warrior who would then stay and help mankind fight the growing forces of evil in the world. A tournament was then held to determine which Amazon it would be, and Princess Diana won. Before she left the island, her mother gave Diana her iconic costume as well as her famous lasso of truth. The magic lasso carries the power of Aphrodite and causes anyone confined in the lasso to submit to Wonder Woman's will and or tell the absolute truth. We also get the first appearance of her iconic invisible jet when Diana leaves Paradise Island with Steve Trevor. Anyway, upon arriving in America, Princess Diana adopts the name Diana Prince and began fighting for truth, justice, and all that stuff, while working as a military secretary. She also became a founding member of the JLA. Then in 2011, DC made some changes to Wonder Woman's origin with the New 52. But before I get into that, let's keep the lights on. I'm gonna shave this balloon while talking.
Why?
I don't know. Yeah, that's good. Are you sick of choosing between overpriced razors and low-quality plastic disposables? Dollar Shave Club has your solution. Their razors provide high quality, close to the shave price for a disposable. DollarShaveClub.com delivers amazing razors right to your front door for a fraction of the price that I used to pay. Just go to DollarShaveClub.com and pick a razor that works for you from their lineup of amazing blades. They're all just $1 for the first month, including free shipping. With Dollar Shave Club, you can look, smell, and shave like $1,000,000 without paying it. So go discover why millions of members like me love Dollar Shave Club by getting your 1-month trial of any razor for just $1. Seriously, there's no catch or hidden fees, commitments, and you can cancel whenever the heck you want, and with free shipping. So go to DollarShaveClub.com/variant to get a 1-month membership of any razor for just $1. Get it shipped free to your house and find out what it's like to use a razor that's so good, it can shave a balloon. Now, while much of Wonder Woman's story stayed the same or similar in the New 52, one of the significant changes was the reveal that Diana wasn't formed from clay, but was actually born of an affair between Queen Hippolyta and Zeus. An alteration that made her a demigod and dramatically lifted the potential limits of her power. In fact, we later learned that her famous unbreakable bracelets were actually designed to help her contain and control her incredible godly power, removing them only when she needs to unleash the beast on her most powerful enemies. Another significant change to Wonder Woman in the New 52 came when she claimed the mantle of the God of War by killing her longtime mentor and father figure, Arris. While she did it to keep the evil firstborn from becoming the God of War, it was still a serious move in a dark direction for the character. She also became romantically involved with Superman in the New 52, forming a serious power couple that could be deadly if both of them decided to go to the dark side. Sure, it's unlikely, but still fun to talk about. But that leads us to the Rebirth arc that started in June 2016. As of now, we are 20 issues in to Greg Rucka's Wonder Woman Rebirth run, and there have been a butt-ton of changes to her origin and overall continuity. It starts with Wonder Woman having a major identity crisis because she is aware of 2 different versions of herself, both the New 52 version of her life and the pre-New 52 version. In an attempt to find the truth, Wonder Woman wraps herself in her lasso of truth and asks, "Who am I?" She then tells herself she has been deceived, but she doesn't know how or by who. The following issues are then broken into 2 groups, with the odd issues telling the Who Am I story, which is slowly revealing the lies that were formed by the mysterious force during the New 52, and the even issues telling the Year 1 flashback stories, which are retelling her origin. I'm not going to get into a lot of detail about her Rebirth story arc thus far, because Greg Rucka has been telling a really good story that I highly recommend you read for yourself. But I will say that like the rest of the DC Rebirth event, as Wonder Woman's origin is being retold, much of her pre-New 52 origin is being restored. Even some of her post-crisis continuity that had to do with Themyscira is being affected, but I can't wait to see how Greg Rucka ties everything together with the broader DC event. Now, those are the major pieces of her origin, but what about her villains? Well, over the years, Wonder Woman has had a pretty serious enemies list, especially considering she's a founding member of the Justice League. Throughout her existence, she's battled gods, demigods, monsters, and even a fellow superhero on occasion. Like when she battled Superman because his mind had been altered and he thought she was Doomsday. But some of her primary enemies are Baroness von Gunther, a Nazi spy and scientist who was Wonder Woman's first reoccurring nemesis. Then there's Arris, the God of War, who was reimagined in the New 52 as a mentor, but is a character to watch out for in Rebirth. Cheetah, who's been revised several times over the years, and has both been a friend and a serious foe. And a few others like Cersei, Dr. Cyber, Medusa, Silver Swan, Dr. Psycho, Decay, and Dr. Poison, just to name a few. As for powers and abilities, Wonder Woman is easily one of the strongest heroes in the DC universe, strong enough to compete with the likes of Shazam, Martian Manhunter, and even Superman. In fact, when Wonder Woman fought Shazam, they were an even match. However, Wonder Woman displayed a new strength level in the New 52 while fighting a god, because as I mentioned earlier, we learned that her bracelets actually serve as restraints to protect her enemies from her intense power. And when she removes her bracelet, she can go into a berserker rage of power, which leads some to wonder whether she's as strong as Superman. To which I would say probably not. However, it's generally accepted that while she's not as strong as Superman, she is one of the few characters in the same class as him. In addition to her strength, Wonder Woman also has super speed, invulnerability, durability, and more recently has been given the power of flight, which eliminates her need for the invisible jet. But it lives on in our hearts, guys, in our hearts. Anyway, Wonder Woman is able to fly at hypersonic speeds fast enough to keep up with Superman. She also has a keen intellect, has a healing factor, super hearing, super agility, stamina, divine wisdom, enhanced senses, and is a master of hand-to-hand combat. Wonder Woman also has some amazing weapons, like her previously mentioned Lasso of Truth. In addition to getting the truth out of people, her lasso has been shown to be capable of restoring people's lost memories, as well as ridding people of illusions, and protecting those who are in close proximity to magical attacks. She also has her bracelets of victory, which were created with the remains of Zeus's shield. She uses these bracelets to deflect all sorts of attacks, like bullets or anything else that comes her way. Then she has her royal tiara, which is razor sharp and can be used as a boomerang of sorts. It is also magical, and as such could even be used to injure Superman. And lastly, she has a magical sword, which she uses often in battle, like the time she stabbed Darkseid in the freaking eye. She's used others as well, but those are her main weapons. Finally, my friends, I'm gonna wrap things up with Wonder Woman reading recommendations. Start with Wonder Woman Chronicles Volume 1, Wonder Woman Paradise Lost, Wonder Woman Volume 2 Guts, and lastly, be sure to read all 20 issues of Greg Rucka's current Wonder Woman Rebirth run. I'll also add that the Wonder Woman animated movie is also really good and would probably be the perfect prep piece leading into her solo movie's release on June 2nd, which, if I haven't mentioned before, looks awesome, and I'm crazy excited to see it. First up for Wednesday, May 24th, we have Hal Jordan in the Green Lantern Corps issue 21. To stop Sarko and save the future of the Green Lantern Corps, a Green Lantern must die, but can a returning Green Lantern find a way to save a life instead of taking one? Here we have Injustice Ground Zero issue 12. The story of the original video game reaches its dramatic conclusion. This issue also leads directly into the Injustice 2 prequel comic series. And finally, we have Wonder Woman issue 23, The Truth Part 5. The conclusion to Diana's search for the truth takes her on a journey into darkness, but the price of understanding may be one sacrifice too many for Wonder Woman. And that's going to do it for today's show, but if you like the channel, be sure to subscribe and then hit the bell next to it so you're notified every time we upload a new video. But as always, you can like our Variant Facebook page to keep up with the show and all things comic related. You can also follow Variant on Twitter at Variant Comics or me on Twitter at Arris_Quinones. But I'll see you guys next week when I talk about all things comics.